In action. Welcome back, folks. Well, what a week. What a week. What a couple weeks. Stock market plummets. Rates plummet. Everybody's just freaking out globally. Everybody's saying the Fed should have cut. You guys screwed up. And then we get another jobs report on Friday, and everybody's like, well, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe we overreacted. And then here we are today again this week with lower inflation news. Home Depot coming out saying that they're worried about the consumer. Things aren't looking good. The data continues to soften. Rates bounce back up from those lows higher. A lot of people missed this refi boom, which I don't think is the refi boom. But you know what? The recession fears are starting to escalate. It's starting to get real, folks. It really, really is. When you start to look at the data on the jobs report, we start looking at the consumer, we start looking at credit card debt, credit card delinquencies, auto delinquencies, the softening job market. Are we watching? Are we hearing? Are we paying attention to what's going on? Because I'll get a call, I'll get an email, I'll get a text. Hey, Ken, did you see this? I'm like, yeah. Are you watching this right here? Are you watching my content? Are you paying attention? Because we're watching this week over week. Guys, I dig into this week over week over week. It's here. And we're not going to know 6-8 months out, maybe a year out. Should the Fed have cut in July? Were they too fast? Were they late to the game? Were they too early? We don't know. Nobody right now can tell you that definite answer. I talk to people all day, every day about their finances, their income, their debts, their credit, their payments. I'm just trying to tell you, I don't need to go listen to reports or data. I have my own. I also talk to other people in the industry. I hear from other people in the industry. I talk to people that own rental properties. I talk to people that are collecting rents. That's who I study, folks. I can study them. I can talk to clients that own small businesses. I've been hearing from them, pain. When are these rates going to go down? My house is sitting. Should we lower the housing price? Should we wait? What should we do? Guys, people are confused. People are upset. There's no guidance. There's no elected official right now that everybody's like, that's my rock. That's the guy I want to point to. It's not Powell. It's not Biden. Will it be Trump or Harris? I doubt it because they don't have it. The average American does not feel confident in the leaders in this country. And then I hear people that are 100 millionaires, billionaires talking because they also realize maybe for them it's not a big deal. This is crazy. This is unsustainable, right? Pivotal moment for me in the economy where we might look back at this time right now. We might look back and say, was this the time we should have cut? Was this the pivotal moment? Whoever wins this election, is it going to matter or not? I don't know. If you're a business person, if this person gets in or this person gets in, are you more likely to hire, grow, let's go, let's crush this? Or are you more likely to, I'm going to stall, I'm going to wait, I'm going to get nervous, I'm not sure. And if, depending on this situation, if it's this person or that person, depending on what their policies are in the end, if you're going to pull back, be nervous and worried about overregulation, over this, over that, I don't care who is in party. If that's what people worry about, or consumers worried about this person, that person, and it's not a positive thing for the country, people will just lock up. They'll just not spend. And then you're basically forcing them to spend by dropping rates or sending helicopter money and things like that, which we just did and realized that works temporarily. And then it doesn't work after that because it's jacked up rates, high prices, high this. So we're just at this pivotal moment in time where decisions need to start being made, where the data is going to continue to just get worse and worse and worse until something's done. And then do you just have it go where a point where it's like data gets bad and then it just gets worse quickly? Because that's what's happened in other cycles. So that's where we're at in this cycle. We're at this pivotal moment where we're going to wake up September 18th. Is the Fed going to cut rates? Are they going to start talking about it? We have 6 weeks of more data, and the data keeps coming week. We have a packed week of this week for data, which we're going to get into. At the end of the day, I sit here and I talked about this because we're in real estate. So if you're in commercial real estate, let's just say you're in a depression, okay? It's literally bad. A lady today, this morning, she says, we thought about it would be a good time to buy commercial real estate. I said, oh, tell me about that. And she says, yeah, because, we think, there's good deals and stuff. I said, okay, good deals in what? Office? Okay, cool. I said, what about filling them with tenants? Oh, shit. I didn't think about that. And then she says, didn't she say that? Because my friend manages some big tower they just built in downtown San Francisco. And she's like, her job sucks because she can't rent anything and they're bleeding. I said, oh, not even that. The building's worth half of what it was, if not less, maybe even less, maybe 60, 70% less. And she's like, would you wait? I said, well, I don't tell people I would wait. I would just ask you, do you think the economy is getting better or worse? She goes, worse. I said, cool. Do you think we're just getting into the loans coming due? Oh yeah, maybe we should wait. I said, I'm not telling you to wait, but $3 trillion of loans haven't come due. They haven't been refied, whether that's all commercial. Because she goes, so it doesn't make sense. I said, well, if you buy office right now, you're going to have to put a lot of money down. There's no debt. You're going to heavily scrutinized by the banks, and who's going to be your tenant? Yeah, maybe we should wait. So folks, you're just starting to see people fire sell stuff, this, that, and this in the commercial space. So my whole point is that we all want to sit back and go, when are the rates going to come down? When are things going to get better? Win, win, win. And I keep telling everybody, because they call me, hey, what do you think the rates will be in a month? I can't tell you that. I said, you're asking the wrong question. They go, what's the question? I said, where do you think the data is going to be in a month? Because if the data stays on course where it is now, slowly getting little by little worse, which isn't a bad thing because it needs to happen, then you know where rates are going to be. Rates would go down. But if it's slowly getting better, that's not a good thing for rates. So I said, we don't need to predict where rates will be. We just need to predict where data will be. I think data will continue to show softening in all of it. And you could get some bounces and things like that, or some bullshit jobs reports where we all know and they get revised down. And if the data is softer, we are going to continue to hit those targets where the Feds want, and we're going to start breaking psychological barriers, and then you're going to start cutting. And then when the rates cut, that signals to people that the Feds feel like they're worried about the economy. And they really start cutting a lot more and more and more, then they're really worried about the economy. So my little rant today is because this is what everybody's talking about right now. That's in the business world, that's thinking about their business or thinking about buying real estate or refining real estate or purchasing or selling and going up. They're just worried about all these fundamentals in the economy, and I don't blame you. So we got to keep watching the data. We're going to study it. And that's why we have this every single week. So I wanted to take a moment and express that, hey, I go through this data every week. So if you continue to watch this, watch it. If you know somebody that's buying a house and wants the questions answered, tell them to follow my stuff. I'm not telling you to follow me to get more followers. I'm telling you because I'm shooting this to help you. I already know this stuff. When somebody calls me, I said, I already know this. I've already known this because I spend the time to learn it, to watch it, to talk to the people, to listen to the people, right? This is what I do. So I can educate my clients, educate people. Like, that is the whole thing here. So share this with somebody, show this with somebody. And if you don't know who I am, and we just met, my name is Kenny Simpson. I'm a mortgage broker by choice, been doing it 20 years, helped over 5,000 clients, funded billions of dollars of loans. And if that's not enough resume for you, I shoot a lot of content, and I love to educate my past clients, my future clients, and anybody that's willing to listen on what's going on in the economy. So I like to dumb down what's going on out there and how it affects, the financial world, how it's going to affect rates, and maybe how housing is doing. And we look at housing, we look at inventory, we look at rates, we look at demand, supply, all that stuff. And that's what we do here. So if you're here, welcome. Thanks for joining. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us a comment, hit me up. Let's get on the phone below, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But anyways, if you've been here 20 times, welcome back. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. And we got another week and we got more data and we need to get through it. So as I mentioned before, there's a big data week, huge data week. And let me go through what's going to be talked about this bit. We got U.S. federal budget, we got PPI, CPI, manufacturing income, U.S. retail sales, import price, housing starts, building permits, building confidence. And that's a lot of data, folks. Depending on how this comes out is going to determine how rates are going to be. It's going to set the tone for moving forward from here when we get these results, because we won't get them for another month. So whatever we get here will trigger something, good, bad, or other. So it could be a very volatile week for stocks, very volatile week for crypto or anything else. Obviously, a very volatile week for interest rates. So we'll continue to watch those. If you guys did not know that the average credit card debt across the country about everybody is at $63.29. That's $6,329. Let's just do this for a second. Hey Siri, what's the average income across the United States? $67,056. The median household income is $67,000. That's the median household. let's just call it $60,000, $70,000. So that means that somebody makes $60,000, they're barely making up $6,300 credit card debt. That's what Siri says about average credit card debt. Hey Siri, what is the average credit card debt in the US? $6,194, close. So the average income, so basically what people are making a year, they're sitting on credit card debt of 10, 15, 20% of that they're sitting here trying to make these payments are these crazy ass payments. 10% of their income, they're sitting on a credit card debt. So that's huge. So if they're making $70,000 a year, they have rent, insurance, taxes, gas, food, electricity, life. They can't get ahead. They cannot pay down their credit card debt. Especially like I said, you go out to eat or something, you used to be able to feed a family $50-$60. Now it's $200. Or $200 is, I told you we had 3 burgers. One was a kid's meal, is with a tip, $80. It's not a fancy joint, folks. Just, it is what it is. All right, what's going on this week? Another thing I want to talk about is the new jumbo product we have out. So listen, let me go through it quickly. It's loan amounts up to $4 million, 80% loan to value. If your DTI is under 45, 0 reserves, 740 FICO, primary residence only, 30-year fix, starting rates at 6.25. That is with origination point. If you want more further information, hit this guy up right here and I can help you. It's limited. It's not going to last. Small local bank, just basically try to do some deals, help everybody out. But once they run out of maybe this pile of money, they might move on to a different product. So if you have something that fits that, let me know. The loan amounts do need to be over the conforming rate. So if you're here in San Diego, that's about 766. So if I can help you, give me a shout, call me on that. I just thought I'd throw that out there because it's such a good product and I want to get somebody dialed in on that and help them out. So next thing I want to talk about this week is with the refinance. When's the right time to refi? I wrote an article about it on Monday. If you didn't catch it, you should definitely go read it. I also put about the information about the jumbo details. So when is the right time to refi? How do you know? Let's jump into it. Let's be quick. Let's be brief. I don't want to waste a bunch of time. Here's the deal, folks. That is a question that you have to answer. But what I can tell you is this. When somebody goes, hey, what's the rule of thumb? The rule of thumb in our business is if you refi and you make up your costs in 2 to 3 years, you should refi. And the reason why they have that rule is because most people refi. The average, I think, was maybe 7 years, used to be 10 years. But anyways, that's used to be. A lot of people are locked in on low rates, so that doesn't make sense. So when should you refi? Should you refi now? Should you wait till rates come down? And really, that's determined you. Some people want to save $200, $400, $600, $800 and up. It doesn't make sense. Some people say, if I can't save a point rate, forget about it. I don't want to do it. So it's really determines what you want, what's best for you and your family. But let me give you one piece of advice. Let's say you have a rate of 7.5% right now. Cool. Let's say you're a lender, you call your lender up, you call Kenny up, hey, I want to refi, what can I get? Okay, picking a rate, 6.5%. And then you're like, well, what if the rate dropped down in a year or so? And I say, look, if you can save the money now, let's say you drop your rate and you're saving $400 a month. What I would do if I were you, I'd say, if you can get that 6.5 with no points, cover a lot of your closing costs, right? Like help out with some closing costs. So really a no cost refi. Maybe you got to pay some little things and you save $300-$400 a month and that's worth it. Do that. So then when the refi comes up in a year or two, you didn't feel like, oh, I already paid points and fees or whatever and I got to do it again. So that's a really good option is just do a no closing costs. Loan refi might help you out. And so when rates really come down, which I think they will, you can then take advantage.
We heard off the top, Jamie Dimon in short saying he doesn't think that the Fed's rate hikes matter much on a grander scale, but they certainly impact housing. The home builder stocks are trading lower today, adding to their declines over the past week. For more on his take on the housing sector, let's bring in Stephen Kim. He's Senior Managing Director of Home Building Equity Research at Evercore ISI. Stephen, it was not a pretty period for the home builders. It turns out they hate lower interest rates.
Well, they've actually moved up quite nicely over the last few months here, actually the last month or so. So we actually have had a very nice positive reaction to the lower rates. Frankly, though, I think that we have a lot more to come because right now what we're seeing on the ground is that in 2Q earnings, we're hearing that June really wasn't a great month. July probably wasn't that great either, based on our contacts. And so this move down that we've seen here over the last few weeks in the 10-year yield, which will, of course, translate to the mortgage rate, is going to be very beneficial, we think, for the housing market. And we think things are going to get better on the ground as we get into the third quarter.
What would a half-point interest rate cut in September and maybe a further cut or two for the remainder of the year mean for the housing business?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that the mortgage rate really cues off at the 10-year yield. And that's because people usually stay in their homes for, 7 to 10 years or so. As a result, the 10-year yield is really what matters. And the 10-year yield obviously anticipates a lot of the Fed cuts. So the Fed cut per se probably won't impact the mortgage rate when it actually comes. This period we're in now, as people are thinking the Fed's going to cut, that impacts the rate. So you kind of get that. However, I will say that a lot of people who buy houses for the first time may not be very sophisticated. And as a result, they may not really know that the long end of the yield curve is what matters. So when they hear that, oh, the Fed is actually cutting rates now, that may actually drive more traffic to the doors of the home builders. That's something to watch out for. We are seeing that there's a lot of psychological barriers to the buyers right now. People think it's all math, but I've said many times, it's not just math, it's mental when you're talking about home buyer demand, particularly first-time buyers. So the Fed actually cutting rates may not change the mortgage rate that much, but it might get people off their couch and into the doors of the home builders.
So the rules for buying and selling a home August 17th are going to change. So how we've been living life as a real estate investor, buyer, seller, agent, all that, it's going to change. And the simple answer is that if you're listing a property according to these settlement lawsuit rules and everything that's going to come out, like here in California, they're talking about you're not able to list what you're going to pay the buyer and things like that. So I'm already hearing stories that, hey, I go write an offer on a property and then they come back and accept my offer and they basically say, oh, we'll pay your agent 1%. And then you, the buyer, the agent's like, wait a minute, I had an agreement with you. So that means when you start buying a property, you will have an agreement with that agent, which I think is good for you and the consumer. So you're not shopping around and you use somebody and stay focused. You have an agent, and that in that agreement that says you're going to pay that agent 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it is. So if you say I'm going to pay you 2.5%, and that seller's only willing to give you 1% out of your pocket, you're going to have to pay the other 1.5% unless you negotiate the deal. So it's going to change how we disclose things. It's going to change how buyer and sellers create deals. It's going to probably put some confusion out there in the market first. And could it save sellers some money? Sure. Could people that offer, hey, we're not going to pay buyers anything, people won't come up and show their house? Sure. But at the end of the day, if you're a listing agent, you're a buyer's agent, and you're trying to earn business, basically, if you're really good at what you do, you're not going to worry about this, because if you get referrals or you do marketing, whatever, and clients find you and they're going to sell their house or buy with you, they should pay you the 1%, 2%, 3% of what you agree upon, because that's the value you bring to the market. That's what it worth. So if you're a buyer and seller, just be prepared. A buyer, you might have to cough up out of your pocket to pay for that fee. But remember, that means you should be able to negotiate the house down. But what I'm hearing stories is somebody's listing it and they're selling it for this. They're not paying on that. Basically, they're paying the price where it should be credited and they're not. So it's like they're almost overpaying for the house. They're not getting the stuff. So the whole point of this was to save on fees, save on closing costs, make it more affordable for the consumer, more transparent. But a lot of us are confused and saying, is this really just going to make more money for the agents? It costs the clients more money in the end. I don't know. We're going to find out as time goes on. But, comment below. Let me know if you guys think this is ridiculous, this is overkill, or this is actually going to help the industry. And to wrap up this week, my thoughts about the overall mortgage. This week, I really wanted to get into the refi. I really wanted to get into the jumbo product. Is it the right time to refi? And also, is the cuts really going to make a difference? Really going to go in? Are they embedded already in the rate now, which they probably are? And then also the new NAR, the new lawsuit coming out that's going to change the buyer sellers. We'll all get through it. We all change. Change is weird at first, but like I said, if you're really good at your job and you bring value to the marketplace, you'll be fine. You'll get the customers will trust you to move forward. But what I like to wrap up and say is that we are seeing a slow demand and people sell their houses. So are we going to get the rates lower? Are we going to get the cuts? Are we going to get some stuff back up? People feel nervous. People feel anxious. We got this election coming up. It's a very, very weird time right now. So we've got, August, September, October, November. We've got about 4 months, 3.5 months or so before we figure out who's the next president of the United States. What does that mean for our pocketbook? What does that mean for the economy? What does that mean for housing rates, inflation, all that stuff? And so a lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are sitting on the sideline. A lot of people are waiting and watching. So I think we're just feeling that. Everybody's talking about that. You can see it in the numbers, the data. And so that is kind of common. I remember last time when I was thinking about this, and you go through these presidential cycles, elections, this is kind of what happens right before things stall. And then once somebody is elected, we either good, bad, or other, we're moving forward in some direction. So look, if there's an opportunity for you to buy or an opportunity to refi, take advantage when those rates dipped. If you see that again, you get to get a little dip and you're going to buy or refi. Don't play the rate game. Don't try to wait. If you can, great. If you need to refi or do something, then just do it. There probably will be an opportunity in the future to refi out of these rates you get now into something lower. But that's basically on the support of the data continues to slowing and more to the downside. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we're seeing. And so after we get to this week, it'll be a big week of data. I can't wait to look at it and see where we're at next week. But hey, keep following, keep watching me. I thank you guys so much for your time. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. And remember, we always watch the data. We always report on the data. And that's what we do here. We do not give hypotheticals. We do not just guess. We just follow the data and the numbers, they just don't lie.